Here we go, aka Padders. I love these episodes. Welcome back to WILDSTORM Wednesday. This is where we get obsessive about Jim Lee's publishing powerhouse. All the money from X-Men #1 flows into, at the time, Homage Studios, and then later, WILDSTORM Productions. And what we have here, right next to me, well, read it. Cybernaries 1. This is Cybernary 1, the flip book of Deathblow 1, the character everyone fell in love with after he first appeared in the anthology Darker Image #1. He was with Sam Keith, who was with Rob Liefeld. So why is Cybernaries 1 significant? I debated doing this video in a few separate ways. I wanted to introduce you guys to Manabat. If you guys don't know who Manabat is, Nick Manabat. Tragic. I hate to make the comparison. If Top Cow has Michael Turner, WILDSTORM Productions has Nick Manabat. Two stellar artists who left before their, they left before their time. I don't want to make this a Nick Manabat video, and I don't want to make this a Cybernary video, because the publishing history of Cybernary is also complicated. So what do we do? Because we have to talk about this. I feel like the timing is correct. What is next to me here is one of Jim Lee's very first product drops. This is actually his second product drop. It was a poster. Cybernaries 1 was a way for Jim Lee to introduce a new character, a big idea, and just to sell it. Like, no story, no anything. He was still involved with Marvel when this dropped. The previous print, the one that preceded this, was a black and white work, roughly 11 by 17. This is almost a full-size poster here, and 200 of them were signed. There's evidence of this throughout the entire web. So why is Cybernaries 1 significant? Why are we even talking about it? Well, Cybernary later would premiere with Deathblow #1. This confused so many comic book fans because they wanted a full issue of Deathblow. So you would buy Deathblow, but you would really only get a couple issues, a couple pages. You don't get a lot of artwork. He was roughly on Deathblow for 3 issues. Tim Sale later takes over the series and does stellar work. But then for 4 issues, we get the Cybernary backup story, and it really is like eyeball juice. It's wonderful to look at. It's this like post-apocalyptic. It's got no relation to any WILDSTORM story at all, nor does Deathblow. Please remember, it takes Deathblow roughly 1 year to begin his integration into WILDSTORM Productions. So what does this represent? Comic fans for a while, this was of debate for some reason, and everyone knew, it was just something we felt in our blood, in our veins. Deathblow #1 just didn't quite fit into WILDSTORM. It didn't quite fit into what was happening in Stormwatch or Wildcats. But Jim Lee put it out. He put it out because Deathblow in Darker Image 1 was so impactful. But the real impact is the return of Cybernary, where him and Brandon Chow collaborated to work together. They're the two that built and laid out all the foundation for WILDSTORM Productions. They bring this character back, and then what exactly is it? And it's a really big point here, because it's not a superhero universe. It's not a superhero tapestry. The flip book, Cybernary and Deathblow, they're not even related characters. But this is Jim Lee doing his version of Heavy Metal Magazine. Just like that poster, just like everything you guys are looking at with this poster here, it's just a big, fun, giant idea. It's a sexy girl with horns. She's got cybernetic implants. She's a warrior, and it's all of these things we love to look at. It's, for lack of a better term, very heavy metal. Jim Lee used his power, used his influence to put ideas out into the ether. He did it with Deathblow. He did it with Cybernary. At the time, he's also doing it. He's echoing it with Stormwatch and Wildcats. Gen 13 is nipping at the bud. Gen 13 is coming. That's what she said at this time. And then later, Cybernary, Deathblow, they get more integrated into the WILDSTORM universe, WILDSTORM proper. Cybernary ends abruptly. I went through these issues, and there's no word of Nick Manabat and his passing. I checked issue 6, issue 7, I went all the way up to issue 12. And this is where, like, the subject of this video kind of, I juggled it. I went back and forth a lot. Because we have to talk about Cybernary as a published character, as a published work through WILDSTORM Productions. A while from this point, after issue 4, some time passes, and we get a Cybernary miniseries. We get another appearance in the one-shot of Cybernary, and then the character fades away. But the roots of the character is really Jim Lee creating something and putting something out there. And it's a move we really didn't quite see at all from Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefeld really didn't put out his own products. Rob Liefeld just, like he previously attempted Youngblood to get published. He gets a job at DC, gets a job at Marvel, comes back to Youngblood. Same as Eric Larson. Eric Larson did Savage Dragon. He breaks into Marvel, DC, goes back to Savage Dragon. Spawn, again, Spawn almost premiered. He came from he came from Tom McFarlane's archives. But of all the Image founders, Jim Lee truly was entrepreneurial. He said, people like how I draw. I'm getting a lot of attention being at Marvel Comics. Let me put something out for me that's mine. So it's somewhat tragic that the Cybernary character is memory hold. It's past. It's tragic that no one is basically saying, hey, let's refocus this character. Let's try and add significance to this character. Let's make this character cool again, or cool, period. But no, Jim Lee put characters out there that essentially, think about it. This character right here could have been and should have been in X-Men. AKAPAD here, a little bit of the lost history of WILDSTORM Productions and one Jim Lee. Love you guys.